The life we experience, with its joys and struggles, its apparent order and its sudden chaos, is it the result of chance, or is it the product of a design? The truth is that within every human being resides an architect of unlimited power, with the capacity to design and build any reality they can conceive. That architect is us. But for most of history, and for most people, this architect has been asleep. And in its absence, the construction of our lives has been carried out on autopilot, using old, inherited blueprints, the beliefs of our culture, the expectations of society, the fears of our childhood. We have lived in a house designed by others. The feeling that something doesn't fit, the intuition that we are destined for something greater, is the inner architect in each of us, stirring in its sleep, ready to awaken. This audiobook is that call. It is not a collection of theories, it is a manual of metaphysical architecture. It is the handover of the blueprints and tools that have been hidden from us. Together we are going to awaken those architects. We will explore the invisible laws of energy and consciousness, the true building materials of the universe. We will learn to read the blueprints of reality, to cleanse the foundations of old limiting beliefs, and to design with intention and power the life that is rightfully ours. It is time for us, as conscious creators, to take up the pencil and the ruler. It is time to start designing. Chapter 1: The Invisible Score, Reality as Consciousness. The life we experience, with its joys and struggles, its apparent order and its sudden chaos, is it the result of chance, or is it the product of a design? This is the fundamental question that has obsessed humanity since the beginning of time. Our sensory experience presents us with a world of solid objects, of inert matter, of events that seem to happen to us, as if we were actors on a stage over which we have no control. But the first and most profound revelation of metaphysics, the truth that lies at the heart of all great wisdom traditions, offers us a radically different perspective. It tells us that the universe is not a silent place filled with things. It is a symphony of infinite complexity and beauty, and the substance from which all the notes, all the melodies are made is not matter. It is consciousness. This is the first and most important of the principles, the law of mentalism. The ancient axiom expresses it with majestic simplicity: the all is mind, the universe is mental. What does this statement mean? It means that the fundamental reality underlying everything we perceive, the stars, the mountains, our own bodies, is not at its root physical. It is thought. It is consciousness. The universe is not a dead machine that arose by accident. It is a mental creation, a vast, infinite and living idea that occurs in the mind of a primordial consciousness that the sages called the All. To understand this, imagine a great composer. In the silence of their inner studio, they conceive a complete symphony. They hear every note, every harmony, every crescendo before a single instrument has been played. The entire symphony exists in its totality and perfection as a mental creation in the composer's mind. The musicians and instruments are only the medium through which that invisible score is made audible. Forbidden metaphysics teaches us that the physical universe is the audible manifestation of an invisible score, a score written in the language of consciousness. This idea, which for centuries was the domain of mystics, today resonates in amazing ways with the discoveries of cutting-edge physics. Quantum physics, in exploring the heart of matter, did not find small, solid balls, but vortices of energy, waves of probability. It discovered that at a subatomic level, the universe is not made of things, but of possibilities, and that the act of observation, the act of consciousness, plays a crucial role in the collapse of those possibilities into a real event. Science, in its own way, is beginning to read the first notes of this invisible score. This cosmic understanding may seem abstract, but the principle of correspondence, as above, so below, brings this power directly into our experience. If the universe is a symphony born from a universal mind, then we, being sparks of that same mind, operate under the same law. And this is the truth that changes everything. Our individual mind is not just a receiver of the world's music. It is an instrument and at the same time a composer. We have the ability to write our own melodies and perform them in the great orchestra of the universe. Our thoughts are not private and harmless events. They are notes. They are vibrations. They are causes. They are the seeds of the reality we experience. Every habitual and sustained thought, charged with the energy of emotion, is a melody we begin to play. And the universe, which is a field of resonance, has no choice but to respond, to create a harmony that corresponds to our melody. If the melody we constantly play within ourselves is one of struggle, fear, and scarcity, the orchestra of the world will accompany us with a harmony of obstacles, conflicts, and lack. If, on the other hand, we deliberately learn to play an inner melody of confidence, love, and abundance, the universe, by the same impersonal law, will surround us with a harmony of opportunities, loving relationships, and prosperity. The world is not imposing its music on us. It is giving us back the echo of our own. This is the essence of the principle of mentalism. We are not victims in a random material universe. We are composers in a mental, receptive universe. And our thoughts are not mere reactions to reality. They are the fundamental cause of the reality we experience. This is the first and greatest of the secrets, because it gives us back the baton. Practice listening to the inner score. To begin composing consciously, we must first become aware of the music we have been performing on autopilot. Exercise 1. The audit of your inner symphony. For the next 3 days, become the silent listeners of your own mental orchestra. Carry a notebook. Several times a day, pause and ask yourself, what music is playing in my mind right now? Don't judge. Simply identify the genre. Is it a melody of worry about the future, a funeral march of resentment about the past, a hymn of gratitude for the present, a cacophony of scattered and anxious thoughts? Write down the most recurrent musical themes. The song of I'm Not Enough, the refrain of There's Never Enough. At the end of the 3 days, you will have a clear repertoire of your usual concert. This is the score that has been creating your reality until today. Exercise 2. Composing a conscious chord. This exercise will give you a direct experience of your power as a composer. Choose a quality of being, a state you wish to experience. For example, peace. Now we are going to compose the chord of peace. A chord has several notes that sound in harmony. The first note, the thought. Deliberately introduce the thought, the word peace. The second note, the image. Associate an image with that word. A serene lake, a silent forest, a clear sky. The third note, the feeling. Invoke the sensation. How does peace feel in the body? A relaxation in the shoulders, a deep breath, a calm in the chest. Hold this 3-note chord, thought, image, and feeling, in your consciousness for 1 minute. You have just performed an act of deliberate composition. You have shown that you don't need the external world to give you peace. You can generate it from within, at will. You have proven the first principle. Exercise 3, the overture of the day. An orchestra conductor does not begin a concert at random. They set the tone with an overture. Every morning, before the noise of the world begins, take 5 minutes. Instead of being dragged into the cacophony of worries or the news, consciously choose the overture of your day. What will be the tonality of your symphony today? Will it be confidence, creativity, patience? Using the chord technique, compose and feel that keynote. Hold it in your being. You are setting the musical intention for the next few hours. You are informing the universal orchestra what score you have chosen to perform. You have learned the first and greatest of the laws. You have understood that you are not characters in a story written by someone else, but that you are the consciousness that composes and performs the story. Chapter 2. The Principle of Resonance, the Physics of Attraction. This is the second fundamental law of metaphysics, the principle of resonance, often known as the principle of vibration. The ancient axiom expresses it with a thunderous simplicity. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This is not a mystical statement, it is a fundamental fact of modern physics. Science has shown us that, at the deepest level of reality, solid objects do not exist. The chair you sit in, the table in front of you, your own body, everything you perceive as solid and stable is, in reality, a vast ocean of energy. It is a whirlwind of atoms, which are themselves vortices of subatomic particles that are not things, but vibrations, waves of probability dancing in a field of infinite potentiality. Solidity is an illusion of our senses, which are not sharp enough to perceive this cosmic dance. Everything in the universe, from the farthest galaxy to the most fleeting thought, is energy vibrating at a specific frequency. And here lies the secret. You, as a center of consciousness, are a vibrational broadcast station. Your state of being, the sum total of your beliefs, thoughts, and above all your dominant emotions, emits a specific frequency to the universe, a unique musical note. And by the law of resonance, the universe has no choice but to bring into your experience people, circumstances, and events that vibrate in harmony with that note you are emitting. You do not attract what you want with your thoughts. You attract what you are with your vibration. This is the key that solves the great mystery of why positive thinking often doesn't work. You can spend all day repeating affirmations of wealth, but if in your body, in your heart, the music that is playing is the vibration of fear and scarcity, that is the true signal you are sending. You are trying to sing an opera note while your entire inner orchestra plays a funeral march. And the universe, which is deaf to your words but exquisitely sensitive to your music, will respond to the dominant vibration, the vibrational scale of consciousness. Not all vibrations are equal. Just as in music there are octaves. Dr. David Hawkins, in his monumental work Power versus Force, mapped what he called the scale of consciousness. He demonstrated that every human emotion has a measurable vibrational frequency. At the low end of the scale, we find the contraction emotions, those of low vibration. They are shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, and anger. To live predominantly in these states is to emit a low-frequency signal that by law can only attract more circumstances that generate shame, guilt, fear, and anger. At the high end of the scale, we find the expansion emotions, those of high vibration. They are courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and, at the top, enlightenment. To live predominantly in these states is to emit a high-frequency signal that tunes into the harmony, synchronicity, and abundance of the universe. True alchemy is not changing the world. It is changing your note. It is the conscious work of raising your own vibrational frequency, of moving from being a poorly tuned radio that only picks up the static of fear, to being a high-fidelity station that transmits the clear symphony of peace and love. But how do you do this? How do you deliberately change the vibration? You don't do it by fighting against the low frequencies. Fighting fear only creates more fear vibration. Vibrational transmutation is achieved through a three-step process: awareness, acceptance, and choice. Step 1. Awareness, feeling your current note. The first step is to become exquisitely aware of your own vibrational state at every moment. Most of us walk through life completely oblivious to the music our soul is playing. Your body is your tuner. It is the instrument that tells you in real time what your frequency is. Low frequencies feel in the body like contraction, a tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach, slumped shoulders, shallow breathing. High frequencies feel like expansion, an openness in the heart, a sense of lightness, a deep breath, an upright posture. Your first practice is to learn to listen to your body, to become a master of feeling your own vibration. Step 2. Acceptance, stopping the fight against dissonance. When you realize you are in a low vibrational state, for example, feeling deep anxiety, your first instinct is to fight it. I shouldn't feel this way. I have to get rid of this anxiety. This resistance is like trying to tune a guitar by further tightening a string that is already out of tune. You only increase the tension and the risk of it breaking. The master's step is radical acceptance. It is allowing the emotion to be there without judgment. It is saying, here is the vibration of anxiety. I feel it in my chest. For this moment, I allow it to exist. By stopping the fight against the emotion, you remove the energy that fuels it. Dissonance, when observed with an equanimous consciousness, often begins to dissolve on its own. Step 3. Choice, introducing a new frequency. Once you have created a space through acceptance, you can now deliberately introduce a new note. You cannot jump from despair to joy in an instant. It would be too big a leap, but you can always take a small step up the vibrational scale. One of the fastest ways to do this is through gratitude. As we have seen, it is almost impossible to feel gratitude and fear at the same time. Gratitude is an incredibly high and harmonious frequency. Even in the darkest moment, there is always something you can feel genuine gratitude for. The simple fact of breathing, the warmth of the sun, the memory of a loved one. By deliberately focusing your attention on a thought of gratitude, and above all by feeling that gratitude in your body, you are introducing a new and higher vibration into your field. You are starting to change the music. Practice, the tuner of your own vibration. Exercise 1, the vibrational barometer. This is your daily practice of conscious awareness. Set a silent alarm to go off several times at random throughout the day. Each time it goes off, pause for 30 seconds, close your eyes, and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is despair and 10 is absolute peace, what is my vibrational number at this precise moment? Then ask yourself, am I in contraction or expansion? Feel your body. You don't have to do anything with the information. Simply mentally note the number. This exercise will turn you into a master at reading your own inner state. Exercise 2. The Conscious Acceptance Protocol. This is your tool for when you find yourself in a low vibrational state. Instead of fighting, you are going to practice the rain meditation we explored. Identify the emotion, the dissonance. Feel where it lives in your body, the contraction. Now, imagine a soft, warm rain of acceptance falling on that area, not to wash it away, but to soften it. As you do, mentally repeat, I allow this feeling to be here. I am safe. It is just energy. This practice teaches you to be the space for your emotions, not their victim. Exercise 3. The high-frequency anchor. You need a quick way to change your note when you need to. Choose your high-vibration anchor emotion. For most people, the most accessible and powerful is gratitude. Now, create a sensory anchor. It can be a mental image, the face of a loved one, a specific memory, a moment of pure joy, a piece of music that uplifts you, or even a smell, an essential oil. Your practice consists of repeatedly associating your sensory anchor with the emotion of gratitude. Every day, take 2 minutes to evoke your anchor. Look at the photo, listen to the song, and fully immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude. Feel it expand in your chest. With repetition, this connection will become automatic. In a moment of stress or negativity, simply by evoking your anchor, you will be able to instantly change your vibrational state. You have created your own personal tuning fork. The universe is not a silent place that reacts to your actions. It is a vibrational symphony of which you are an integral part. You cannot avoid playing a note in this symphony. Your only choice is whether you play a note of dissonance and chaos or one of harmony and beauty. Your feelings are not passive reactions. They are vibrational decrees. You are the composer of the music of your soul, and the world with perfect fidelity will always dance to the rhythm you choose to play. Chapter 3. The Echo of the Soul, the Reflection of Your Inner World. We come to the third and most revealing of the hidden laws, the principle that gives you back total power over your life experience. It is the principle of correspondence, the law of the mirror, the truth of the echo. The ancient Hermetic axiom expresses it with astonishing beauty and depth. As above, so below, as inside, so outside. This is not a simple poetic phrase. It is perhaps the most precise and operative description of how creation works. It is the law that establishes that your external reality, the world you perceive with your 5 senses, your finances, your relationships, your health, the circumstances you encounter, is not a solid, objective, and independent entity. It is a mirror, a perfect, infallible, and unfiltered reflection of your inner state. Imagine you're in a completely dark room. You can't see anything. Now imagine you have a movie projector in your hand. The movie inside the projector is your state of consciousness, the total sum of your habitual beliefs, thoughts, and emotions. When you turn on the projector, the movie is emitted and projected onto the white neutral walls of the room, which represent the field of infinite potentiality of the universe. What you see on the walls is not the room itself. It is the movie you are projecting. If the movie is a drama of struggle and scarcity, the walls of your life will be filled with images of conflict and lack. If the movie is an epic of triumph and abundance, the walls will reflect that same story. Most of us spend our entire lives trying to change the movie by yelling at the wall. We complain about the images, we fight against them, we try to paint over them from the outside without realizing that the only way to change the reflection is to enter the projection booth and change the movie we are emitting from within. The world is not doing anything to you. It is showing you with brutal honesty what movie you are projecting. Your life is not something that happens to you. It is a feedback loop. It is the echo of the song you are singing in the silence of your soul. To understand how this mirror works, we must analyze it on the three great planes of human experience. The mental plane, the reflection of your beliefs. Your inner world on a mental level is composed of your beliefs and your dominant thought patterns. This is the script that runs in the projector of your mind. The external world reflects this script with perfect fidelity, manifesting as the recurring themes and situations in your life. If your fundamental internal belief is, life is a struggle, your external reality will become a battlefield. You will attract difficult jobs, conflicting relationships, and constant obstacles. Not because you are cursed, but because your internal projector is programmed to seek and manifest the drama of struggle. A calm, problem-free day will feel strange to your system. If your internal belief is, I am not worthy of love, the mirror of life will present you with partners who do not value you, friends who betray you, or persistent loneliness. Each of these experiences is not a punishment, but a reflection that shouts, look, this is the belief you are holding as truth. If your belief is, I never have enough money, your reality will become a constant echo of that affirmation. Unexpected expenses will appear, opportunities will vanish at the last minute, and you will always feel one step away from ruin, no matter how much you earn. Observe the recurring patterns in your life, the dramas that seem to repeat with different characters and in different settings. Those are not your destiny. They are the reflection of your mental script. The emotional plane, the reflection of your vibration. Your habitual emotional state, your vibration, is perhaps the most powerful aspect of your inner world. The universe is a field of resonance. It attracts what vibrates at the same frequency. The reflection of your emotional state manifests in the quality of your relationships and the atmosphere of your environment. If you live in a state of unexpressed anger or resentment, you will attract people and situations into your life that provoke you, that push that same anger button. The world will constantly give you a reason to be angry, because anger is the frequency you are emitting. If you live in a state of constant anxiety and fear, you will perceive the world as a dangerous place. The mirror of life will show you alarming news, untrustworthy people, and reasons to worry at every turn. On the contrary, if you deliberately cultivate a state of inner peace, you will begin to notice a miraculous change. The people around you will seem calmer. The situations that used to stress you out will lose their power over you. It's not that the world has changed, it's that you have changed the frequency of your receiver and now you tune into harmony instead of chaos. The physical plane, the reflection of your body and finances. Finally, the mirror of correspondence manifests on the densest plane, the physical. Your health and your wealth are a direct reflection of your inner state. Your body, as we have already explored, is the most intimate canvas. An inner state of self-criticism and guilt can be reflected as chronic pain. Constant stress and anxiety can manifest as digestive problems or a weakened immune system. Your body is the last link in the chain, making the energy of your invisible patterns visible. Your financial situation is a brutally honest reflection of your beliefs about abundance and deservingness. The lack of money in your bank account is not the problem. It's the symptom. The real problem is the poverty consciousness within you. It's the belief that you don't deserve it, that it's difficult, that it's selfish. The external world simply proves you right. The work of the alchemist, therefore, is never on the outside. It is useless to try to clean a stain on the mirror. The real work is to clean the stain on your own face. When you change the cause, what's inside, the effect, what's outside, must change by law. It is inevitable. Practice calibrating your inner mirror. Exercise 1, the correspondence journal. This is an exercise in radical honesty, so you can see this principle in action in your own life. Choose a frustrating and recurring external circumstance in your life. It can be a conflict with a person, a financial problem, a physical ailment. Now, take your journal and at the top of the page, describe this situation objectively. Below, ask yourself the fundamental question of the principle of correspondence. If this external situation were a perfect mirror of my inner state, what habitual belief, thought, or feeling within me would it be reflecting? Take your time, be brutally honest. Don't look for the easy answer. For example, external situation. My boss never values my work. Possible inner reflection. It could be reflecting my own belief that I am not good enough, my own lack of self-worth, or perhaps my resentment toward authority, or my fear of asking for recognition. This exercise takes you out of the role of a victim and gives you back your power. The problem is no longer your boss. The problem is a belief inside you that you can change. Exercise 2, the act as if protocol. To change the reflection, you must present a new image to the mirror. This practice consists of embodying the inner state that corresponds to the external reality you desire. Identify the state of being that corresponds to your desire. If you desire wealth, the state is not greed but security, freedom, and generosity. If you desire love, the state is self-love, openness, and wholeness. Your practice for 15 minutes a day is to deliberately cultivate that feeling within you, for no external reason. Close your eyes and ask yourself, how would a person who already lives in a state of total financial security feel? Feel that calm in your body. Breathe it in. Walk, talk, and make small decisions from that state. You are creating the inner cause that by law must attract the external effect. You are changing your face, and the mirror will have no choice but to show you a new image. Exercise 3. The world as an oracle. For a whole day, change your perspective. Instead of seeing the world as a series of events that happen to you, see it as your personal oracle, a real-time feedback system. If someone is kind to you, don't take it as something casual. Recognize it as a reflection of the kindness within you. Say thank you to the mirror. If you face a frustrating setback, don't see it as an attack. Ask yourself, what is this mirror showing me? What part of me is in a state of frustration or resistance? This practice transforms your life from a complaining monologue into a fascinating dialogue with reality. You are not separate from the world. You are its generating center. Your life is not something that happens to you. It is a work of art that is painted from the inside out. The principle of correspondence hands you the paintbrush and reveals that the canvas and the painter are, in the end, one and the same. Chapter 4. Harmony and Dissonance, the Power of Polarity. The ancient Hermetic axiom expresses it with extraordinary density and beauty. Everything is dual. Everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Let's unpack this powerful revelation, because it is the basis of all transmutation. The principle tells us that the opposites we perceive in the world, heat and cold, light and darkness, up and down, good and evil, are not, in reality, fundamentally different things. They are simply two extremes of the same thing, two poles of a single spectrum. To understand this, let's use the metaphor of music, the language of the composer. In music, there is dissonance and consonance. A dissonant chord is tense, unstable. It creates a sense of longing and conflict. A consonant chord is stable, peaceful. It creates a sense of resolution and rest. The untrained mind labels dissonance as bad and consonance as good. But the master composer knows that this is a childish view. He knows that a symphony made only of consonant chords would be incredibly boring, flat, and lifeless. It is precisely the tension of dissonance that creates movement, drama, emotion. The beauty of music does not lie in the absence of dissonance, but in the art of resolving dissonance into an even more satisfying consonance. The principle of polarity reveals to us that all the realities of our life operate under this same musical law. The problems, the crises, the negative emotions are not mistakes in the score of your life. They are the dissonant chords. They are the necessary tension that precedes resolution. They are the question that longs for an answer. You are not a victim of your states. You are an alchemist with the power to move up the scale of your own consciousness, to transmute dissonance into harmony. The art of mental transmutation is the art of deliberately changing your position on the vibrational scale of any experience. Let's see how this applies to the great polarities of life. The spectrum of courage, transmuting fear. Fear and courage seem like irreconcilable opposites. You are either brave or you are fearful. But this is an illusion. Fear and courage are not two different things. They are two poles of the same spectrum. Your relationship with the perception of threat. Fear is the lower end of the scale. It is the degree where your perception of the threat is much greater than your perception of your own resources to handle it. It is a vibration of contraction, of powerlessness. Courage is the upper end of the scale. It is not the absence of the perception of threat. True courage is not having fear. It is feeling the fear, but consciously choosing to focus on your resources, on your strength, on your ability to handle the situation. It is a vibration of expansion and power. The transmutation of fear into courage is not achieved by fighting fear. That would be like trying to fight the cold. It only generates more tension. Transmutation is achieved by adding heat, deliberately withdrawing your attention from the catastrophic images of failure, the pole of fear, and focusing it on the empowering images of success and resilience, the pole of courage. You are literally raising the thermometer of your inner state. The spectrum of success, transmuting failure. In our culture, failure and success are seen as hell and heaven, two completely separate destinations. The principle of polarity shows us that this is also an illusion. Failure and success are not opposites. They are 2 points on the same continuum, the spectrum of experience and learning. Failure is the 0 degree of the scale. It is an outcome that did not align with your initial intention. The untrained mind labels it as bad and sees it as proof of its own inadequacy. It is a vibration of judgment and stagnation. Success is a higher degree on the same scale. It is an outcome that did align with your intention. The transmutation of failure into success is the secret of every great entrepreneur, artist, or scientist. They understand that failure is not the end of the road. It is the road. Every failure is simply a data point, an experiment that has produced an invaluable result. It contains the wisdom of what does not work. The mental alchemist does not lament failure. He takes it, puts it in the crucible of his analysis, extracts the gold of the lesson, and uses that lesson to refine his next attempt. In doing so, he raises the vibration of the experience. He has not erased the failure. He has transmuted it into a stepping stone to success. The spectrum of abundance, transmuting scarcity. Scarcity and abundance are not objective conditions of the world. They are 2 poles of the same thing, the spectrum of consciousness. Scarcity is the vibration of the mind focused on lack. It is the degree of perception that constantly scans the world looking for what is missing, what is limited, what is not had. It is a half-empty glass consciousness. Abundance is the vibration of the mind focused on fullness. It is the degree of perception that, regardless of external circumstances, focuses on what it does have, on gratitude, on possibilities. It is a half-full glass consciousness. The universe, like a mirror, reflects your degree on the scale. If you emit scarcity, it reflects scarcity. If you emit abundance, it reflects abundance. The transmutation from scarcity to abundance is achieved through a deliberate change of mental polarity. It is achieved by withdrawing your attention from the thought, "I don't have enough," and anchoring it, with discipline, in the emotion of gratitude for what you do have, no matter how small. Every act of gratitude is an act of alchemy that raises your position on the thermometer of prosperity. The spectrum of love, transmuting hatred. Even hatred and love, which seem like the most absolute opposites, are, according to this law, 2 poles of the same spectrum, the spectrum of intense emotional connection. Both are forms of an immense investment of psychic energy in an object or person. The true opposite of love is not hatred. It is indifference, the absence of connection. Hatred is a vibration of connection from pain, judgment, and separation. Love is a vibration of connection from acceptance, compassion, and unity. The transmutation of hatred into love is the highest alchemical work. It begins with the difficult art of forgiveness, which is the act of withdrawing your energy from the vibration of resentment and raising it to a state of neutrality. From that neutrality, the possibility of compassion and ultimately impersonal love opens up. The art of mental transmutation. The mechanism for changing your polarity, for raising the thermometer in any spectrum, is always the same. It is based on the conscious use of the powers we have already begun to explore. The fundamental principle is that you cannot eliminate a mental state by force. You cannot not think about something. You can only replace it. Transmutation is the art of substitution. First, you use your awareness to identify which pole of the spectrum you're on. Second, you use your will to make the decision to change your polarity. Third, you use your attention to deliberately withdraw the energy from the negative pole. And fourth, you use your imagination and emotion to focus on and feel the vibration of the positive pole as if it were already your reality. This is the work of the alchemist. It's not about changing the world, it's about changing the mind. Practice, the alchemist's laboratory. Exercise 1, the Polarity Journal. This practice trains you to see the spectrum in your daily life. Choose a negative polarity that you are currently struggling with. It can be a specific fear, a feeling of failure in an area, or a scarcity mindset. In your journal, first, describe this negative pole in as much detail as you can. How does it feel in your body? What stories does your mind tell you? Now on a new page, describe its opposite positive pole in even greater and more vivid detail. Don't just write courage. Describe what you would do, how you would move, how you would talk, how you would feel if you were already embodying absolute courage. Make it so real and attractive that your mind begins to desire it. This exercise clearly defines the two ends of your personal thermometer. Exercise 2, the alchemical thermometer meditation. This is a visualization to practice transmutation in real time. Sit in silence, close your eyes. Connect with the feeling of the negative emotion you want to transmute. Feel the cold of fear or scarcity in your body. Now, imagine a large thermometer of light in the center of your chest. Observe how the mercury of light is at the bottom, in the cold zone. With your intention, start to apply a gentle fire to the base of that thermometer. This fire is the power of your imagination. Begin to visualize the scene you described in the positive pole. As you hold the image and generate the emotion of the positive pole, watch how the mercury of light in your chest slowly begins to rise. Feel a real change in your physiology. Feel how the contraction of the cold dissolves and is replaced by an expansive warmth. Keep your focus on the feeling of the positive pole until the thermometer reaches the highest degree. Stay in that feeling of warmth and expansion. This is a direct practice of vibrational alchemy. Exercise 3. Transmutation through action. The fastest way to solidify a change in polarity is through physical action. Choose a very small action that the person living in the positive pole of your spectrum would do, but that the person in the negative pole avoids. If your spectrum is fear-courage, a small act of courage could be making that phone call you've been putting off. If your spectrum is scarcity-abundance, a small act of abundance could be leaving a slightly more generous tip than usual, feeling that you have more than enough. If your spectrum is failure-success, a small act of success could be dedicating 15 minutes to working on your project instead of procrastinating. The act of physically embodying the vibration of the positive pole, even in a minuscule way, sends the most powerful signal of all to your subconscious. This is who I am now. The universe is not a set of warring opposites, but a spectrum of possibilities. You are not condemned to live at the negative end of any experience. You are an alchemist, and your consciousness is the flame that has the power to raise the vibration, to transmute lead into gold, fear into courage, and failure into wisdom. Chapter 5. The Tempo of Creation, Mastering the Rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The swing of the pendulum manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm, co-tuumpensates. This is not a simple metaphor. It is one of the most fundamental and observable laws of existence. The entire universe dances to the beat of an unceasing rhythm. There is a rhythm in the orbit of planets and in the expansion and contraction of galaxies. There is a rhythm in the change of seasons on Earth, from the heat of summer to the cold of winter. There is a rhythm in the rising and falling of tides, governed by the moon. There is a rhythm in your own body, the inhalation and exhalation of your breath, the systole and diastole of your heart, the cycle of sleep and wakefulness, the cycle of life itself, birth, growth, maturity, decline, and death, which in turn gives way to a new birth. Everything is subject to this oscillation, to this pendular movement. Prosperity and crisis in economies, the rise and fall of civilizations, and even your own moods, energy, and creativity. There is no such thing as linear, uninterrupted growth. It is a fantasy of the human mind, a denial of the fundamental law of life. Life is not a straight line, it is a wave. Understanding and accepting this truth is the first step to freeing yourself from an immense amount of suffering. Because most of our anxiety and frustration are born from our two great mistakes in managing this universal rhythm. The first great error, resisting the ebb tide. When the pendulum of our life swings to the negative side, when we face a financial setback, a period of low creative energy, an illness, a dark night of the soul, our untrained mind panics. It interprets this ebb tide, this winter of the soul, as a permanent and catastrophic state. It believes the sun will never rise again, and then we start to fight. We resist rest when we are exhausted, trying to force productivity. We punish ourselves for feeling sad, trying to think positive in a superficial way. We fight against the reality of failure, refusing to accept the lesson. This resistance does not stop the ebb tide. In fact, it makes the experience infinitely more painful. It's like trying to swim with all your might against a strong current that is pulling you to shore. Not only do you not move forward, but you become completely exhausted, making your stay at the low point of the cycle more prolonged and more difficult. Resistance to the ebb tide is suffering. The second great error, attachment to the high tide. The second mistake is more subtle but equally destructive. It happens when the pendulum swings to the positive side. We experience great success, a surge of creativity, a wonderful new relationship, a period of happiness and expansion. We find ourselves on the crest of the wave in the summer of our life. And the ego, in its need for permanence, becomes attached. It identifies with the peak. This is me, it says. I am successful. I am happy. And the moment it becomes attached, fear is born, a subtle but persistent fear that this state will end. We begin to live with the anxiety of losing what we have gained. This attachment steals the joy of the present moment. We stop enjoying the crest of the wave because we are obsessed with the idea that, inevitably, it will come back down. It also leads to exhaustion. We try to maintain a summer level of energy and productivity indefinitely, ignoring the signals from our body and soul that are asking for an autumn of harvest and a winter of rest. We try to force the pendulum to stand still at its highest point, a violation of universal law that can only end in a collapse. The art of the master navigator, the law of neutralization. So are we condemned to be puppets of this cosmic pendulum, dragged from euphoria to despair without any control? No. The ancient masters taught that, while the law of rhythm is immutable, an initiate can learn to use it for their own benefit. They taught the art of neutralization. Neutralization does not consist of stopping the pendulum. That is impossible. The pendulum of life will always oscillate. Neutralization consists of an act of mental mastery. It consists of elevating your consciousness to the pendulum's point of suspension. Imagine the pendulum. It swings from side to side, but the top point from which it hangs remains still. That point of stillness is your observer consciousness, your true self. The master learns to polarize himself at this upper point in his I am, and to observe the oscillation of the pendulum of his mental, emotional, and circumstantial states without being dragged along by it. He becomes the wise navigator, who, although he feels the movement of the boat rising and falling with the waves, keeps his gaze fixed on the immutable North Star of his own consciousness. He knows that the waves come and go, but he is not the wave. He is the ocean. This mastery is achieved through two conscious strategies, one for the ebb tide and one for the high tide. The strategy for the winter of the soul, the ebb tide. When you notice the pendulum swinging into a cycle of low energy, difficulty or sadness, instead of resisting, surrender to the rhythm. Recognize and name. The first step is awareness. Say to yourself, I am entering an ebb-tide cycle. This is normal. This is part of the rhythm. It is not permanent. Naming the cycle takes away your fear. Surrender to rest. Give your body and soul what they are asking for. Allow yourself to rest more. Reduce your social commitments. Say no to new demands. This is not an act of laziness. It is an act of strategic wisdom. You are conserving your energy. Find the gift of winter. Every winter has a sacred purpose, gestation. It is the time to go inward. It is the perfect time to nourish your roots, to read, to study, to reflect, to integrate the lessons of the previous cycle. It is in the stillness of winter that the seeds are gestated that will flourish in the next spring. The strategy for the summer of the soul, the high tide. When the pendulum swings into a cycle of success, high energy and joy. Instead of clinging to it with fear, practice detached presence. Enjoy with presence. Immerse yourself completely in the joy of the moment. Feel the gratitude. Celebrate your achievements. Do not allow fear of the future to rob you of the beauty of the present. Prepare for autumn. The wise farmer in the midst of a rich summer harvest doesn't eat it all, he stores grain for winter. In the same way, when you are in a cycle of abundance, be a good manager. Save a part of your resources, money, energy. Document the systems that have led you to success so you can replicate them. Stay humble. Constantly remind yourself of the truth of impermanence. This too shall pass. This awareness does not diminish your joy. It makes it more precious. It protects you from the arrogance and exhaustion that often accompany success, and it prepares you gracefully for the inevitable phase of harvest and rest that will come after. Life is not a straight line. It is a symphony of rhythms. Suffering is born from trying to play a summer note in the middle of winter. Mastery is found in learning to dance with the music of each season, trusting that every ebb tide is the sacred promise of a high tide to come. Chapter 6. The Note and its Consequence, the Law of Causality. We come to the most exact, most implacable, and at the same time most just and empowering law of the universe. It is the operating system of the cosmos, the great loom on which destiny is woven. It is the sixth and most crucial of the hidden principles, the principle of cause and effect. The ancient axiom declares it with an ineluctable certainty. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for a law not recognized. There are many planes of causality, but nothing escapes the law. Let's pause on this profound statement, because it completely annihilates one of the greatest illusions that keeps us in the role of victims, the illusion of chance. Our untrained mind sees the world as a casino. It attributes its triumphs to good luck and its misfortunes to bad luck. It believes that life is a series of random events, a cosmic game of dice over which we have no control. This belief in chance is the sleeping pill of the soul. It absolves us of all responsibility and condemns us to a life of powerlessness, passively waiting for the next roll of the dice. Forbidden metaphysics reveals the truth to us. The universe is not a casino, it is a garden. And in a garden, nothing happens by chance. The harvest you reap in autumn is the direct and inevitable effect of the seed you planted in spring. There are no exceptions. This is the true law of karma, stripped of all its superstitious connotations of reward and punishment. The law of cause and effect is not a system of cosmic morality. It is a law of the physics of consciousness, as impersonal and precise as the law of gravity. Gravity doesn't punish you for jumping off a cliff, it simply operates. In the same way, the law of consequence doesn't punish you for sowing a negative cause, it simply delivers the corresponding effect to you. The understanding of this law is the end of victimization and the beginning of sovereignty. You realize that if you don't like the harvest you are reaping in your life, you should not curse the heavens. You must, with radical honesty, examine the seeds you have been sowing. To become a master gardener, a conscious sower of your destiny, You must understand that you sow causes on three great planes of existence. The first plane of causality, thought. All creation, as we already know from the principle of mentalism, begins on the plane of thought. Every habitual and sustained thought you hold in your mind is a cause, an architectural blueprint that you hand over to the universal substance. Imagine two people who decide to start a business. Both start from similar circumstances. The first person operates from a thought plane of confidence and service. Their habitual thoughts are, I have immense value to offer. My product or service will improve my customers' lives. I trust in my ability to solve challenges that arise. Success is the natural result of adding value. This thought pattern is a powerful cause. It is a detailed blueprint for building a prosperous company. The second person operates from a thought plane of fear and doubt. Their habitual thoughts are, the market is too saturated. What if I fail? What will people say? It's very difficult to get clients. I'm not sure I'm good enough. This thought pattern is also a cause, but it is a blueprint for building a failure. Both people will act in the world, but their actions will be imbued with the energy of their causal thoughts. The first will act with audacity, creativity, and a magnetic energy. The second with hesitation, fear, and an energy of desperation that repels opportunities. The final result, the harvest, will not be the product of luck, but the inevitable effect of the mental cause that each one chose to sow from the beginning. Your thoughts are not innocent. They are prophecies. They are the most potent causal seeds you possess. The second plane of causality, the word. If a thought is the blueprint, the word, both spoken and written, is the act of formalizing that blueprint, of giving it a denser structure and vibration. A word is a thought that has been crystallized, anchored in the physical world through sound or ink. Every word you utter is a decree. It is a spell you cast into the field of reality. When you constantly talk about your illnesses and pains, you are sowing the cause of poor health. You are giving the command to your subconscious to identify with the disease. When you engage in complaint and criticism, whether about the government, your boss, or your neighbor, you are sowing the cause of frustration and negativity in your own life. You are tuning your vibration to the frequency of the problem, not the solution. When you speak negatively of others through gossip, you are sowing a karmic cause of terrifying precision. You are emitting an energy of judgment and betrayal that, by law, must return to you in the form of people who judge and betray you. On the contrary, every time you use your word consciously and creatively, you are sowing causes of power. When you talk about your goals and dreams with passionate conviction, you are watering the seeds of their manifestation. When you use your word to encourage and support others, you are sowing the cause of receiving encouragement and support in your own life. When you practice the art of blessing, of sincerely wishing others well, you're creating a field of high vibration energy around you that attracts equally blessed circumstances. Your word is your magic wand. You can use it to curse your reality or to bless it. The choice is always yours. The third plane of causality, action. This is the most obvious plane. We all understand that our actions have consequences, but metaphysics teaches us to look at a deeper level. It's not just the action itself that constitutes the cause. It is the intention and emotion that imbue that action. Two people can perform the exact same external action, but if the internal cause is different, the effect they will reap will be radically different. Imagine two people who donate $1,000 to a charity. The external action is identical. The first person donates from a place of genuine compassion and a desire to contribute. The internal cause is love and abundance. The effect this cause will generate in their life will be an increase in their own sense of fullness and the attraction of more opportunities to give and receive. The second person donates the same amount, but does so from a place of ego, to get social recognition, to feel superior, or to get a tax deduction. The internal cause is calculation, vanity, and a subtle consciousness of lack. They need something in return. The effect this cause will generate will be superficial, perhaps a brief boost to their ego, but it will not create a true resonance with abundance. Life does not respond to the mechanics of your actions. It responds to the music of your heart. The art of the master, rising to a higher causal plane. The axiom tells us that there are many planes of causality, but nothing escapes the law. This contains the secret to freeing ourselves from the negative effects of our past. You cannot break the law. You cannot avoid reaping what you have already sown. If you have planted seeds of debt in the past, the effect of scarcity will appear in your present. Fighting that effect is useless. But what you can do is rise to a higher causal plane. You can, in this present moment, begin to consciously sow new causes of a higher order that, over time, will neutralize and overcome the effects of the old causes. Even if your external reality, the effect, is one of scarcity, you can begin to operate from the higher causal plane of the mind. You can start deliberately planting seeds of thought of abundance. You can use your word to decree your prosperity. You can perform small actions of generosity. These new and potent causes, sown from a higher plane of consciousness, will begin to generate new effects, and with time, the new harvest of abundance will choke out and replace the old weeds of scarcity. This is the true meaning of redemption and grace. It is not the annulment of the law, but the wise use of a superior law to transcend an inferior one. It is the act of becoming a conscious cause instead of continuing to be the unconscious effect of your past. You are not a leaf in the wind of chance. You are the gardener in the field of the law. Every thought, every word, and every action is a seed you plant in the soil of the cosmos. You cannot escape the harvest, but you have the absolute and sovereign power to choose the seeds. Chapter 7. The Melody and the Harmony. The Balance of Energies. The ancient axiom expresses it with profound simplicity. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. It is absolutely crucial that, from the very first moment, we free this law from our limited and modern conceptions of gender and biological sex. The principle of gender has nothing to do with being male or female. It is a cosmic truth, a universal law that refers to two fundamental energies, two archetypal polarities that are necessary for any act of creation, on any plane, to occur. All creation, from the birth of a galaxy to the germination of a business idea, is the result of the interaction between these two great poles. The ancients called them by many names: Yang and Yin in Taoism, Shiva and Shakti in Hinduism, heaven and earth. For our understanding, we will simply call them the masculine principle and the feminine principle. For a seed to give life to a tree, two things are needed: the seed itself and the fertile ground that receives it. The seed is the masculine energy. The ground is the feminine energy. A seed thrown onto concrete creates nothing. Fertile ground without a seed remains barren. Life is only born from their union. Your consciousness, as a microcosm of the universe, also contains these two principles. And the art of forbidden metaphysics, the secret of effortless manifestation, lies in learning to balance and make these two energies dance within you. The masculine principle, the divine melody. Masculine energy is the energy of action, of intention, of focus, of will, of structure, and of direction. It is the force that projects, that gives, that initiates, that penetrates the unknown. It is the gardener who chooses the seed. It is the architect who draws the blueprint. It is the captain who sets the course. When you operate from your masculine energy, you are in doing mode. You make decisions, you set goals, you create action plans. You overcome obstacles with discipline and persistence. It is the energy that builds, that orders, that gives shape to chaos. It is the sunbeam that travels millions of miles to deliver its light to the earth. A person with a healthy and developed masculine principle is decisive, focused, reliable, and capable of manifesting their ideas in the material world. But an excess of this energy, an imbalance, leads us to the shadow of the masculine. This is the energy of forced control, of rigidity, of aggression, and of exhaustion. It is the archetypal toxic male, and it has nothing to do with gender. It is the person, man or woman, who is all doing and nothing of being. It is the workaholic who doesn't know how to relax. It is the leader who imposes his will but is unable to listen. It is the logical mind that distrusts intuition and emotion. It is the one who is constantly giving, projecting, pushing, until they are completely empty and break down in a state of burnout. They live in a world of constant struggle because they try to impose their will on the universe instead of collaborating with it. The feminine principle, the sacred harmony. Feminine energy is the energy of receptivity, of intuition, of being, of flow, of creativity, and of nurturing. It is the force that receives, that gestates, that allows. It is the fertile garden that receives the seed. It is the blank canvas that awaits the artist. It is the vast ocean that holds the ship. When you operate from your feminine energy, you are in being mode. You are not forcing a result, you are creating a space for the result to emerge. You are listening to your intuition. You are feeling your way instead of thinking it. You are surrendering to the flow of life, trusting in its wisdom. It is the energy that nurtures, that heals, that connects. It is the dark, silent earth that receives the light of the sun and transmutes it into life. A person with a healthy and developed feminine principle is intuitive, creative, compassionate, and magnetic. They attract opportunities and relationships effortlessly. But an excess of this energy also leads to a shadow. The shadow of the feminine is passivity, indecision, chaos, and victimization. It is the person who is all being and nothing of doing. It is the dreamer who has wonderful ideas, but never takes action to materialize them. It is the person who is so empathetic that they drown in the emotions of others, unable to set boundaries. It is the one who passively waits for life to happen to them, for an external savior to come and give them direction. They live in a state of drift, at the mercy of circumstances, because they do not dare to take the helm. The sacred marriage, the dance of creation. You have seen the two great forces. Can you now see why most of our creative efforts fail? We either try to force reality with pure masculine energy, struggling and burning ourselves out, or we passively wait for our dreams to manifest with pure feminine energy, without ever taking the necessary action. Conscious creation, true alchemy, is neither masculine nor feminine. It is the product of their union. It is the sacred dance, the inner marriage. The process of manifesting anything in your life, from a simple project to a complete life transformation, follows a rhythmic cycle that alternates between these two energies. It is a dance in 4 steps. Step 1, the conception, feminine. Every act of creation begins in receptivity. It begins in silence. It is the moment when you quiet your mind and listen. You receive a flash of inspiration, an idea, a longing from your soul. It is not something you think. It is something you receive. You are in your feminine pole, acting as the fertile ground that receives a seed from universal intelligence. Step 2, the intention, masculine. Once the seed has been received, the energy must change. Now the masculine principle comes into action. You take that ethereal inspiration and give it form and direction. You use your will to turn the longing into a clear decision. You use your logic to create a plan. You set a goal. You are projecting your intention, like a focused beam of light, onto the seed you have received. Step 3, the gestation, feminine. Once the intention has been projected and the seed has been planted, the cycle returns to feminine energy. This is the step that most people, in their impatience, skip. Gestation. After planting a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You leave it in the dark, you water it, and you trust. Psychic gestation is the act of handing over your intention to your subconscious mind and the universe, and trusting in the process. It is a period of faith, of letting go of control over the how and the when. It is allowing the idea to take root in the invisible world, far from your anxious analysis. Step 4, the birth, masculine. Gestation is not a permanent state. Eventually, the sprout is ready to break the surface. This is the moment of birth which requires a final push of masculine energy, inspired action. After your period of trust and receptivity, you will receive an intuitive impulse, a sign, an opportunity. And at that moment you must act with decision and without hesitation. It is the final push that brings your creation from the invisible world of intention to the visible world of form. This 4-step cycle, receiving, directing, gestating, and acting, is the sacred dance of creation. And the master of metaphysics is the one who has learned to dance gracefully between these two energies, knowing instinctively when to be the earth and when to be the seed. Creation is not an act of force nor an act of passivity. It is a sacred dance between intention and surrender, between melody and harmony. The master of metaphysics is neither the warrior nor the mystic. He is the divine composer who has united both within himself, creating a symphony that is both powerful and beautiful. Chapter 8, Practical Workshop 1. Mastering the Generator. Your state of being is a powerful generator of energy. Before you can use that energy to light up a city, to shape your reality, you must ensure that the generator is working optimally. It must be clean, stable, and operating at its maximum capacity. A generator that runs on dirty fuel, that short-circuits and whose voltage is unstable, can only produce chaotic and unreliable energy. This first practical workshop is dedicated to mastering your inner generator, and we will do so by working on its 3 fundamental systems: the cooling system, the art of mental calm, of silencing the noise; the fuel purification system, the art of emotional purification, of cleaning negative energy; the voltage regulator, the art of strengthening belief, of concentrating your power. Part 1. Mental calm, silencing the generator's noise. The first requirement for any mastery work is silence. You cannot hear the subtle instructions of your intuition, nor formulate a clear decree if your mind is a noisy, overheated engine. The mind of most people lives in a state of constant chaos, a ceaseless chatter of worries, judgments, memories, and plans. This mental noise is not harmless. It is a massive leakage of energy. Every useless thought is a watt of your creative power that is wasted. The art of mental calm is not about stopping your thoughts. That is impossible, and the attempt only creates more conflict. It is about changing your relationship with them. It is about learning to be the silent space in which thoughts occur, instead of being the thought itself. This is the practice of the silent witness. To cultivate this calm, the oldest and most powerful tool is mindfulness meditation. We do not see it here as an exotic spiritual practice, but as the most effective engineering protocol for cooling and silencing the engine of the mind. Guided meditation, the space between thoughts. Find a comfortable sitting position, with your back straight but not rigid. Gently close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. With the first, inhale deeply through your nose, and as you exhale through your mouth, release all physical tension from your body. Feel your shoulders relax, your jaw loosen. Or, with the second breath, inhale calm, and as you exhale, release all the worries of the day. Give any burden you don't need to carry right now to the floor. With the third breath, simply arrive. Arrive at this moment, at this space. Now bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. Don't try to change it, just feel it. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils and the warm air leaving. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your abdomen or chest. Your breath is your anchor in the present moment. Your mind will inevitably wander. It will produce a thought, a memory, a plan. This is normal. This is the mind's job. When you realize that your attention has strayed, don't get frustrated. Don't judge yourself. That moment of realizing is a small victory of consciousness. With infinite kindness, as if guiding a small child back home, simply accompany your attention back to the sensation of the breath. Do this over and over. The exercise is not to maintain perfect concentration. The exercise, the repetition that strengthens your mental muscle, is the act of returning. Every time you return, you strengthen your power of choice over the autopilot. Now let's refine the focus. Instead of focusing on the breath itself, start to pay attention to the space between the end of an exhalation and the beginning of the next inhalation. There is a pause, a moment of perfect stillness. Rest your attention in that pause. In the same way, start to notice the silent space between your thoughts. A thought arises, lingers for an instant, and then vanishes into the silence from which it came before the next one arises. That silence, that space, is not a void. It is consciousness itself. It is your true self. You are not the thoughts. You are the silence that allows them. Stay in this practice for 10 or 15 minutes. Do not try to achieve anything. Just rest in your being. You are cooling the engine. You are calming the static. Part 2, Emotional Purification, Cleaning the Fuel. A generator, no matter how quiet it is, cannot work well if its fuel is contaminated. Our emotions are the fuel of our creation, and often our system is filled with the toxic residues of unprocessed emotions from the past, the sludge of resentment, the acidity of guilt, the water of unwept sadness. These trapped emotions are energy leaks. They keep a part of your power anchored in the past, preventing it from being available to create your present. Emotional purification is the act of cleaning these pipes. The alchemical art of forgiveness. The most powerful tool for this cleansing is forgiveness. As we have already touched upon, resentment is the poison you take, hoping the other person will die. It is a command you give to your subconscious to keep a wound alive. Forgiving is the antidote. It is not for the other person, it is for you. It is the act of cancelling that old command of suffering. Guided protocol of radical forgiveness. Get your journal and find a private moment. Choose a person or a situation toward which you still feel resentment. Step 1. The raw expression, the purge. Dedicate 15 minutes to writing a letter to that person. You are not going to send it. It is for you. Pour everything onto the paper without censorship. Your anger, your pain, your disappointment. Allow the poison to leave your system and be deposited on the page. Step 2. Radical empathy, the understanding. Now on a new page, try to do something incredibly difficult. Try to write a brief letter from that person's perspective, not to justify their behavior, but to try to understand their wound, their fear, their level of consciousness at that moment. Hurt people, hurt people. This step softens the heart. Step 3. The decree of liberation, the ritual. Close your eyes. Visualize that person in front of you, and from your heart, pronounce these words, or similar ones, aloud or mentally. I see you. I acknowledge the pain our interaction has caused. I understand that you did the best you could with the consciousness you had, and I did the best I could with mine. Today, I choose to release this burden. I let go of all resentment, all guilt, all judgment. I forgive you and I release you. And in releasing you, I release myself. I cut this chain now. I wish you peace on your path, and I choose my peace. Step 4. The dissolution. Visualize the energetic cord that connected you to that person or that memory, and with an act of imagination, cut it. Burn the letters safely. You have completed the purification. Real-time transmutation, the RAIN protocol. For the emotions that arise in daily life, we can use a powerful mindfulness technique popularized by Tara Brach. Just recognize the moment you feel a difficult emotion, simply name it. This is anger. I am feeling anxiety. Allow accept, don't fight it. Allow the feeling to be there, give it space. Investigate. With a gentle curiosity, investigate the sensation in your body. Where do you feel it? Is it a tightness, a warmth, a vibration? And to nurture. Offer yourself a dose of compassion. Put a hand on your heart and say inwardly, this is difficult. It's okay to feel this. This process transforms your relationship with emotions. You stop being their victim and become their compassionate caregiver. Part 3. Strengthening belief, regulating the voltage. Now that your generator is cool and its fuel is clean, the last step is to ensure that the energy it produces is stable, powerful, and focused. You must regulate the voltage. This is the art of strengthening belief. A belief, as we already know, is a thought that has been practiced to mastery. It is the central command that your obedient mind follows. Strengthening a belief is the act of concentrating your mental power, of moving from a low, fluctuating voltage to a high, stable one. The I am saturation technique. This is the ultimate technique for installing a new power belief. Choose your master decree. Choose your most important I am affirmation. I am infinite abundance. I am radiant health. The saturation ritual. Enter your state of mental calm through meditation or just before sleep. Start repeating your decree. But don't just do it with your mind. Involve your whole being. Feel the vibration. Repeat the phrase in a low voice or as a hum. Feel the vibration of the words in your chest, in your throat. Feel the emotion. Connect with the feeling of your decree as if it were already an absolute truth. Feel the freedom of abundance. Feel the vitality of health. Feel the cellular saturation. Imagine that each of the billions of cells in your body is a small sponge, and with each repetition of your decree, imagine that your cells are soaking, are saturating themselves with this new truth, with this new vibration, until there is no space left for anything else. Practice this saturation for 10 minutes each day. You are literally rewriting the energetic signature of your being at a cellular level. Chapter 9. Practical Workshop 2. The Control Room, the Direction Techniques. It's time to enter the control room. It's time to sit in front of the universe's command console and learn to direct that energy with absolute precision to shape your reality. In this workshop, we will immerse ourselves in the 3 fundamental direction techniques, the 3 master controls of your creation panel. Each is an art form, a science in itself. They are the methods through which the composer, who is you, hands the score to the great orchestra of the subconscious. These 3 techniques are the verbal decree, the power of the spoken and thought word; the astral mirror, the power of creative visualization; the impregnation ritual, the power of subconscious programming. Mastering these 3 arts is becoming a master of practical metaphysics. Part 1, the verbal decree, the mastery of the word. The first tool in our control room is the microphone, the power of the word. As we have already established, your words are not descriptive. They are creative. They are decrees. They are spells. They are the vibration that gives the first form to the formless energy of thought. An effective verbal decree, what we commonly call an affirmation, is a precise line of code that you give to your obedient mind. For this code to compile and execute correctly, it must follow a strict syntax, the pillars we have already explored and will now delve into. The syntax of power. The absolute present. The subconscious is a servant who lives in an eternal now. The command, I will be rich, is a command to keep wealth always in the future. The command, I am wealth, is a command to embody that state in this precise instant. Emotion as a seal. A word without feeling is a command without authority. It is the emotion of certainty, gratitude, and joy that seals the decree and validates it as a truth for your subconscious. Persistence as a chisel. A single hammer blow does not carve stone. It is the persistent repetition of your decree that carves a new neural groove in your brain, turning a simple phrase into an automatic and unbreakable belief. The supreme decree, I am. Of all the words of power, the 2 most important are I am. In mystical traditions, this is the declaration of divinity, the name of the first cause. When you say I am, you are not describing what you are. You are decreeing what you are becoming. You are reclaiming your power as an extension of universal consciousness. What you put after I am becomes a direct instruction about your identity. I am so clumsy is a decree of clumsiness. I am a financial disaster is a decree of scarcity. I am the perfect expression of health is a decree of healing. I am a magnet for success and prosperity is a decree of abundance. Verbal decree protocol. 1. Design your master decree. Choose an area of your life. Define the identity you choose to embody. And write your I am decree using the syntax of power. 2. Activate the emotional state. Before pronouncing it, dedicate a minute to feeling the emotion of your decree already fulfilled. 3. Use the mirror. Stand in front of a mirror, look into your own eyes, and pronounce your decree aloud. Do it with calm, with authority, with conviction. Not as if you are trying to convince yourself, but as if you are declaring a truth that already is. Repeat it for 2 to 5 minutes, allowing the vibration of the words to resonate in your body. Part 2. The astral mirror. The mastery of visualization. If the verbal decree is the script, visualization is the movie. It is the native language of your subconscious. An emotionally charged image is the most direct and high-fidelity command you can give. Creative visualization is not daydreaming. It is the act of creating a memory of the future. Science has shown that your brain does not clearly distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. By visualizing, you are building the neural circuits of your new reality before it manifests. You are teaching your body what the future you desire feels like. The mental movie protocol. This protocol will guide you to create a mental movie of irresistible power. Step 1. Write the script of the final scene. The most common mistake in visualization is trying to imagine the entire process. This introduces doubt and complexity. The master focuses only on the happy ending. Choose your desire. And now define a short scene 10 to 20 seconds long that unequivocally implies your desire has already been fulfilled. Example: professional success. The scene is not the tough negotiation, it is the moment after. You are in your new office, looking out the window, with the signed contract on the table. You feel a deep sense of accomplishment and peace. Example: healing. The scene is not the treatment. It is the moment you receive the test results and the doctor looks at you in awe. Or even better, the scene of you running on the beach, feeling the energy and vitality in your body. Write this scene in your journal. Step 2. Multisensory immersion. Now you become the director. You must make this scene so real that your subconscious cannot resist it. Close your eyes and enter the scene in the first person. Don't see yourself on a screen. Look through your own eyes. Activate sight. What do you see? The colors, the light, the details. Activate hearing. What do you hear? The words of congratulations, the sound of the sea. Activate touch. What do you feel on your skin? The texture of an object, a hug. Activate smell and taste. Is there any associated smell or taste? The more sensory details you add, the more real the experience will be for your nervous system. Step 3. The emotional soundtrack. This is the climax. Identify the central emotion of your fulfilled scene. Is it gratitude, relief, freedom, joy, peace? Generate that emotion in your body now. Use a memory, use music, use your emotional anchor. Bathe in that feeling. Feel it expand from your heart to every cell of your being. This emotion is the seal of reality. Step 4. Looping projection. Repeat this short, emotionally charged scene in your mind over and over. Like a loop. The goal is for it to become so familiar that it feels like a memory. Part 3. The impregnation ritual. The mastery of sleep. You now have your tools, the decree and the mental movie. Now you must use them at the moment when the subconscious projector is most receptive and the guardian of the logical mind is asleep. This is the drowsy state. In the theta state, just before sleep, your subconscious is completely open. An idea planted at this moment is accepted as an absolute truth. The nightly workshop protocol. 1. The sleep sanctuary. Prepare your environment. Your bedroom is your sacred laboratory. For the hour before sleep, disconnect from screens. Dim the lights. Create an atmosphere of peace. 2. Choose your tool. Don't try to do everything at once. Choose one tool for your main goal. If it's a general belief you want to install, I am confidence, use the lullaby technique with your decree. If it's a specific visual goal, the new house, use the mental movie technique. 3. The impregnation process. Lie down comfortably. Relax your body completely. Enter the drowsy state. Now begin your chosen practice. Repeat your lullaby or project your movie in a gentle, passive loop. There is no effort. Immerse yourself in the feeling of your fulfilled desire. This is the key. Fall asleep in that feeling. Let it be the last consciousness you have. By doing this, you give your obedient mind a clear command and a detailed blueprint, and during the 8 hours of sleep, your subconscious, that tireless builder, will work on the materialization of that new reality. Chapter 10. Practical Workshop. 3. The Art of Effective Transmission. You have entered the control room of your mind. You have learned to master your inner generator, to stabilize your energy, to purify your emotions, and to strengthen your belief. You have practiced with the direction tools, using the power of decree and visualization to give clear and powerful commands to your obedient mind. You have the intention, you have the blueprint, you have the energy. But now we come to the most subtle and for many most challenging phase of conscious creation. It is the moment after you have planted the seed, after you have cast the spell. It is the art of transmission and reception. It is the dance that takes place between your command and its manifestation. Many aspiring creators master the techniques of intention, but fail at this final stage. Once they have sent their desire to the universe, they fall into a state of anxiety, doubt, and control. They become the gardener who digs up the seed every 5 minutes to see if it is growing, an act of impatience that inevitably kills the creation. This final workshop is dedicated to the mastery of this subtle art. It will teach you how to go from being a director who shouts commands to a master who directs with a silent gesture. You will learn to listen for the universe's response, to move in harmony with its flow, and to receive your creation with a grace that accelerates the process. This is the art of effective transmission, and it is composed of 3 disciplines: the art of receptivity, the art of inspired action, and the art of the harvest. Part 1. The art of receptivity, recognizing the signs. Once you have sent your command to the subconscious, Your active work of projection is over. Now your role changes. You must switch from the masculine mode of giving to the feminine mode of receiving. You must become an antenna, not a loudspeaker. You must learn to listen for the universe's response. The universe is constantly responding to you, but it rarely does so with a thundering voice from the sky. Its language is subtle. It is the language of intuition and synchronicity. Deep listening, tuning your psychic antenna. Your intuition, as we have already explored, is your direct connection to the universal mind. It is the universe's response whispered directly into your soul. To hear it, you must cultivate silence. You must learn to differentiate the serene, neutral voice of intuition from the anxious noise of the ego and fear. The voice of fear will always talk to you about the past. Remember when you failed, or a catastrophic future. What if everything goes wrong? It feels contractive, heavy, urgent. The voice of intuition always talks to you about the now. Its message is often simple, sometimes symbolic, and always feels expansive, light, and peaceful, even if it is guiding you toward a challenge. There is no emotional charge. It is a quiet certainty. The language of synchronicity, reading the world's oracle. Synchronicity is a meaningful coincidence. It is the moment when your inner world and your outer world align in such a perfect way that it defies all logical explanation. It is the universe winking at you, confirming that it has received your command and is working on it. Learning to read this language is crucial. Repeated numbers, seeing number sequences, 11, 11, 2 and 22, etc., after performing your ritual is a common sign. Don't obsess over their specific numerological meaning. Simply receive it as a thumbs up from the universe. Fortuitous encounters, meeting the exact person who has the key or connection you need just when you need it. Overheard conversations, casually overhearing strangers talking about the solution to your problem. Messages in the media, opening a book to a random page and reading the perfect sentence. Hearing a song on the radio whose lyrics seem to speak directly to you. Seeing an ad or a sign with a message that resonates deeply. Animal messengers, the repeated appearance of a specific animal, a bird, a butterfly that has a symbolic meaning for you. The key to synchronicity is not to look for it with anxiety. It is to maintain a state of relaxed alertness. It is to walk through the world with the certainty that you are in a constant dialogue with a friendly intelligence, and to be open to receiving its messages in the most unexpected ways. Part 2. The Art of Inspired Action, the Reflection in Motion. This is the bridge between being and doing. The universe will respond to you, but often it requires you to take a step to meet it halfway. But this is not the forced action of the ego. It is inspired action. Forced action comes from the belief, I have to make this happen. It feels heavy, like a struggle. Inspired action comes from responding to an intuitive or synchronistic signal. It feels light, joyful, effortless. It's the difference between rowing against the current and rowing with it. Recognizing the impulse. An inspired action impulse is an idea that suddenly comes to your mind, often without a logical connection to what you are doing. I should call that person. I should go to that bookstore now. I should write this idea. The signature of this action is that it feels energizing. It doesn't drain you, it fills you with enthusiasm. The paradox of non-logic. Often the most powerful inspired action will seem completely illogical to your rational mind. Your intuition may ask you to take a different way home, only for you to encounter an unexpected opportunity. Trusting these illogical impulses is an act of faith that drastically accelerates your manifestation. The power of the first step. You don't have to see the whole path. Inspired action often presents itself as a single step. Your job is to take that first step with faith, and once you have taken it, the second step is revealed to you. It is a path that lights up as you walk, not before. Part 3. The Art of the Harvest, Mastering Reception. This is the final phase and for many the most difficult. It is the art of receiving your manifestation when it arrives. The mastery of detachment, the paradox of letting go. Once you have performed your ritual and taken your inspired action, you must completely let go of your attachment to the outcome. This is the supreme act of faith. Clinging to the desire with anxiety, constantly asking yourself, when will it arrive, is like planting a seed and then yelling at it every 5 minutes to grow. Your anxiety creates a vibration of lack that in fact repels your desire. Detachment is not indifference. It does not mean I no longer care. It means I have done my part with perfect faith and intention. Now I fully trust in the power and timing of the universe to do its part. My peace no longer depends on the outcome. This state of serene confidence is the most magnetic vibration of all. It is the declaration that you already feel complete, with or without the manifestation, and it is to this vibration of wholeness that manifestation is irresistibly attracted. The practice of magnetic gratitude, revisited. Gratitude is not just a tool to raise your vibration before the ritual. It is the practice that keeps you in a state of reception after the ritual. Living in a state of gratitude for your life, as it is now, sends the universe the most potent signal. I am already happy. I am already whole. I don't need you for anything. And the universe, which operates under the law that to those who have, more will be given, responds to this vibration of fullness by flooding you with even more blessings. The integration of the new reality. Sometimes, when our manifestation arrives, especially if it's big, we get scared. The new reality can feel so strange, so different from our old identity, that we unconsciously sabotage it to return to the familiarity of our old problems. When your desire manifests, your job is to accept it and anchor it. Acceptance. Receive it with joy and without guilt. Say to yourself, I deserve this. This is a reflection of my new consciousness. Anchoring. Celebrate it. Share it if appropriate. Feel the gratitude. By celebrating and anchoring the new outcome, you are telling your subconscious, this is our new normal. Update the program. The journey of the conscious creator is a perpetual cycle. It is a dance between intention and surrender, between speaking and listening, between acting and receiving. You have learned that you are not a victim of the reflection in the mirror, but the artist who holds the projector. You have completed the composer's workshop. You no longer just know how to write the music. You know how to direct it, how to listen for the room's response, how to move with the energy, and how to receive the applause. You are not a magician who performs tricks. You are a master of energy, a partner in the dance of creation. Before this moment, you operated in a world that seemed to govern you. You believed yourself to be a passive recipient of good or bad luck. Your thoughts were background noise, your emotions were unpredictable storms, and your reality was the result of external forces you didn't understand. You lived as an effect. Today that has ended. The blindfold has fallen. You now know the fundamental law that underlies all of creation. You now know the truth. You are the cause. A thought is no longer a random event in your mind. It is an act of design. An emotion is no longer an uncontrollable reaction. It is the fuel you choose for your creation. A belief is no longer an immutable sentence. It is a tool you can sharpen or replace at will. You no longer look in the mirror of your life asking, why is this reflection this way? You look at your own face, your own consciousness, and ask, what image do I choose to project now? You have stopped being the musician who plays a sad melody out of habit to sit in the conductor's chair. You have reclaimed your place in the control room of your inner power plant. You are, in the deepest sense of the word, the engineer of your reality. Your job now is simple. Every day, in every moment, consciously choose the music you are going to perform. Choose the blueprint you are going to build. The power has always been yours. Now, you simply know it. If this manual of mastery has resonated with you, we invite you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to our channel, Path of Knowledge, for more guides to inner power. Like this video as a declaration of your new sovereignty. Share this knowledge with someone who is ready to awaken their inner architect. Thank you for your time and for the brave decision to take control of your own mind.